Welcome back to another episode of Luso Overland. As you can see today, I am dealing with some broken lug studs on a Gen 3 Montero. That's 2001 to 2006. So I'm at the rear of the vehicle and I'm going to show you how to do this. It's actually a little easier on the front, so if you can do the rear, you can definitely do the front. First thing I'm going to do is take off this wheel. Now there's really no great way to lift up the entire rear end of these Gen 3 Monteros. What I've got is a floor jack underneath the rear diff, and then I've got jack stands on top of these wheel ramps going up to the pinch welds on the body. So that way it's being held up by the pinch welds, and I've got the jack under the rear diff holding up most of the weight. But you got to have both tires off the ground because you need to be able to turn the wheel hub to get the stud, the lug stud, into the position that you need to put in a new one. First thing I'm going to do is take off this caliper. There's just 14 millimeter at the bolt, at the top and at the bottom of the caliper. All right, with the caliper off, I can take this rear brake pad off. Make sure to keep track of your caliper bolts too. The top and bottom ones are different. Okay, next thing I need to do is get this rotor off, and if you have any kind of like set screw in either of these two holes, that'll need to come out, but as you can see, this doesn't, so this rotor should just come right off. It's just probably kind of seized on there. So I'm just gonna give it a few whacks in different places, trying to free it up. Okay, you do need to make sure that your parking brake is off. Okay, so now we've got to pound that stud out with a sledge. Okay, broken one out. Here's the new genuine Mitsubishi wheel studs. I'll have these linked in the description. Of course, we have these over at lusooverland.com. Okay, there's a spot at about 9 o'clock that you can just barely get the new stud into position. And what you can do to make more room is you can put a pry bar onto the brake shoe and pull it open a little bit. There we go. You can rotate the hub as you need to. There we go. Okay, so now what I've done is I've got a bunch of washers stacked up here and then a nut. I wouldn't use a lug nut. Lug nuts are kind of soft and they're easy to destroy the threads on. So this is an M12 by 1.5 pitch nut, and then I've got 4 washers, and these washers are actually 7/16 SAE, and I find that they're actually like a tighter fit up against the M12 stud than an M12 millimeter washer. But yeah, either way will work. And now we just got to suck it up with an impact gun to drive these splines into the hub. There we go. Sucked it all the way up until it's up against the back of the hub, and then we can zip it off. These might be kind of hot, so be careful there. So there we go. You can see it sucked that all up. And next you just want to, take a look at your threads, make sure they didn't get mangled. Try out a lug nut, make sure it slides on easily and that you didn't mangle the threads. If you did, you're going to have to hammer it out and do it over again. But the single biggest piece of advice I could give is having the right nut to drive and to suck it up. Just a regular M12 by 1.5 pitch nut. No nylock, no lug nut. This thing right here with appropriately sized washers. Again, I use 7/16 washers. They're a nice snug fit over the stud, unlike, say, if you had something like this where it's really loose on there. That can cause problems. Okay, over on the other side now, I had to do these two. Same old story, no big deal. There is a special tool for this. Rather than using a bunch of washers stacked up in a nut, there's like a tool where it has a bearing inside, and then it's got a conical face, so you can use your lug nut in that scenario. But this works as well. So I took this opportunity to clean up the caliper pins, put some new grease on them, and now we're going to torque those two bolts to 66 foot-pounds. Also a good opportunity to clean the rest of the wheel studs that I did not replace, because obviously there's a problem with this vehicle and their wheel studs if 3 of them are broken at once. So while you're here, give all those threads a good cleaning. And that's it for this job, you guys. It's really not that bad. Just a few little things to watch out for. So again, this is Marco from Luso Overland, and I'll see you in the next one.